We will begin our commencement ceremony by listening to the Star-Spangled Banner as sung by Carly Wingfield, who is earning her Master of Music degree with an emphasis in vocal performance and will be graduating at this ceremony. Carly.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Good job. Please be seated. At Missouri State University, we are very proud of our many outstanding programs. One such program is in our music department, where many talented and dedicated students study and train. It is our pleasure to have the Missouri State University Jazz Ensemble, conducted by Randy Ham, with us today. I invite you to enjoy the sounds of the Jazz Ensemble as they enter with Blue 5 Jive by Benny Carter. Randy? Thank you. And welcome to commencement. Missouri State University observes 2 commencement periods during the year. The spring ceremony is held in mid-May, and the fall commencement occurs at the end of the fall semester in December. This is one of 3 such programs today. Because of the large number of graduates, we are conferring graduate and bachelor's degrees in the College of Arts and Letters, the College of Education, and the College of Natural and Applied Sciences at this ceremony. Over the course of these 3 ceremonies, we will award degrees to 2,941 students. Of that total, 2,285 will receive undergraduate degrees and 656 will receive graduate degrees. The Missouri State University faculty and staff are proud to recognize members of this graduating class who have distinguished themselves by their academic achievement and leadership and who have earned academic or performance scholarships. Funding for many of these scholarships is made possible by alumni and friends of the university, and we thank them for their support and generosity. Several members of the Board of Governors of the university are on the platform with me today. Members of the board are appointed by the governor of the state of Missouri and approved by the state Senate. They serve 6-year terms and carry the responsibilities set forth in statute as the policy-making board for the institution. We also have a student representative to the Board of Governors who serves a 2-year term. We are grateful to the governors for the time they take from their schedules and give to the university, and we are pleased that they are with us today. I will now introduce the platform party. They will stand as their names are called. I would ask that you hold your applause until all have been introduced. In the second row, beginning at my right, your left, Neosha Mackey, Emeritus Dean of Library Services, who will be reading names of graduates. Carrie Turgeon, Mayor of Jefferson City, businesswoman and member of the Board of Governors. Greg Spears, a businessman from Pleasant Hill and member of the Board of Governors. William Miller, a student from Sullivan and student member of the Board of Governors. Macy Hankel, a graduating senior from Rogersville, Missouri, and senior class president, who will receive her degree during this ceremony. Dr. Saibal Mitra, chair of the Missouri State University Faculty Senate. Carol Silvey, a businesswoman from West Plains and member of the Board of Governors. Dr. Pauline Nugent, professor of modern and classical languages, who will be reading names of the graduates. And in the front row, beginning at my right, your left, Amy Counts, a businesswoman from St. Louis and member of the Board of Governors. Dr. Frank Einhelig, University Provost. Zora Mulligan, our commencement speaker. Brent Dunn, Vice President for University Advancement. Beverly Miller Keltner, educator from Lebanon and member of the Board of Governors. Craig Frazier, a businessman from Springfield and member of the Board of Governors. And Gabriel Gore, a lawyer from St. Louis and chair of the Board of Governors. Please help me recognize the platform party. Good. Our faculty and administrators have led in the educational process for our graduates. Many of these people are present today and seated at my right and left. I request that they now stand and that you also recognize them with your applause for their many wonderful contributions. It is now my great pleasure to introduce our commencement speaker, Zora Mulligan. Zora was appointed Commissioner of Higher Education by the Coordinating Board of Higher Education in August 2016. She is responsible for leading the Missouri Department of Higher Education. She previously served as Chief of Staff for the University of Missouri System, Executive Director of the Missouri Community College Association, Assistant Commissioner and General Counsel for the Missouri Department of Higher Education, and Assistant Attorney General for the Missouri Attorney General's Office. A native of West Plains, Mulligan holds a bachelor's degree in political science and psychology from Drury College and a master's degree in education and a Juris Doctorate from the University of Kansas. Please join me in welcoming to the platform the Commissioner of Higher Education for the state of Missouri, Zora Mulligan.
Ladies and gentlemen, life is short and time goes fast. That's true unless you're at a college graduation, and then sometimes I know that time goes very, very slow. But I would like to assure you that I have been sternly instructed to keep my remarks very, very brief, and I'm going to ask you graduates to let me know if you see President Smart creeping up behind me with a hook, because then I'll know my time is officially up. So I have got to say before I start, as President Smart mentioned, I'm from West Plains, Missouri, which is a small town about 100 miles east of here. And growing up in West Plains, or a town like West Plains, Springfield was the big city, and Missouri State University is like the show. So this is a big moment for me, and I'm really feeling it. I want to ask those of you in the audience, if you grew up in a town where Casey's wasn't the worst place to eat dinner, if you've been mudding on Valentine's Day for a date, if you drove to the Battlefield Mall to go back to school shopping, if you came to Missouri State University to enjoy one of the many services this institution provides in addition to graduating you, like coming here for choir contests or band or districts or sectionals, will you all stand up and give me a big heck yeah, graduates? Small town Missouri, I know you're out there. Come on. All right, you are my people, and God love you. I wanted to ask, too, St. Louis. So if you're from St. Louis, will you stand up and shout out the name of your high school? Oh, where are you from? All right, Kansas City. So maybe just stand and politely clap, because you're Midwesterners, and that's what we do. Kansas City, give us a big shout. All right, rest of Missouri, everybody else from in-state, show me your face. One person wasn't sure, and I appreciate that. Who's here from out of state? All right. International students, I want to see you. All right, congratulations, everybody. So enough of that. Again, I know that my time here is brief. I want to spend my time talking with you about something that I believe is very, very important, and that's community. One of the most remarkable things about the college experience is that it brings together people of all different types, and it forces them to learn to get along with each other, to learn from each other, and to work together. When I look out in this room, I see people from different places, people of different races, people of different ages. And then, of course, there are the many differences that aren't as readily apparent: politics, orientation, religion. And then all the differences that were so meaningful during your time as undergraduates, on campus or commuter, 80 Pi or Alpha Chi, Freddie or Wells, Sun Villa or Scholar's House. Did you have to park 10 miles away, or was it 15 this morning? But in spite of some of those differences and many, many more, you will all have two critical things in common for the rest of your lives. You will always be Bears, and you'll always be college graduates. Both of those will define you in the years to come. Time wears the sharpness off the differences that seemed so important during your time on campus, and you'll find that you're glad to meet other members of the Maroon Nation when you encounter them out in the world, regardless of how your time on campus was different. You'll be proud to put Missouri State on your resume, just like they're proud to put Missouri State on theirs. That name connotes quality. It will put you in the yes stack of applications. And after today, you'll always be college graduates. A lot of you may have grown up in families where going to college was expected and finishing was a certainty, not a question mark. For you, this day might feel inevitable, and this speech probably feels very, very long. But I know that there are a lot of people in this room who weren't always sure that they were going to be college graduates, who maybe didn't come from places where it was as normal or as expected. And for you, this day is a tremendous victory. Many of you got here with the support of friends, family, faculty, but I also want to acknowledge those who got here on their own. There are people in this room who got here on their own steam, who did their own hard work, who without support of friends or faculty were the ones making their own decisions and setting their own priorities. I want to let you in particular know that I see you and I admire you. Regardless of whether, I'll clap for that. But regardless of whether you got here with tons of support and love and with high expectations or without it, you will all leave today with the same piece of paper in your back pocket. And that paper is literally worth more than gold. A college diploma weighs about 2.5 grams. In gold, that weight is equal to about $200. The weight of a college diploma over the course of your life is worth about $2.8 million in increased earning capacity and economic stability. What you're leaving here today with truly is something of lasting value, and in that way, it's a rarity. There are very few things in life that will stick with you and continue to have value as your life changes and evolves. In the next 5, 10, 15 years, many, many things will change in life. One thing that will not is the fact that you own this important credential. It will continue to have value to you for the future as far out as any of us can see. And this brings me back to community. I'm going to leave you with one request here today. Please consider what you can do to bring others into this community of college graduates of which you are now a member. Be an example that helps other people see themselves succeeding just as you have succeeded here. Help them see themselves succeeding at a great university like Missouri State. Giving this gift of encouragement and support is one of the most generous things that you can do with your time and energy, and I encourage you to give it freely and often. Not just to people just like you, but to people as different and diverse as the community of Bears that you now find yourself a member of for the rest of your life. And the last thing, I promise, is he coming yet? All right, so I got a second. Speaking of resources and the value of college diploma, I want to take this opportunity to make the first public service announcement for a new scholarship program called Fast Track, which was approved by the Missouri General Assembly this week. Fast Track will provide free college education to adults who want to get a degree or certificate in a high-demand occupation. Governor Parson made Fast Track one of his top priorities, and he laid down on the tracks to make sure that it made its way over the finish line. And he did that because he knows how important post-secondary education is and that education changes lives. Fast Track will be coming to a community near you in the fall and late fall of the upcoming year, so keep your eyes open. Fast Track is our generation's A+, and I want you all to think about it as a possibility. So graduates, good luck and congratulations. Moms, dad, faculty, friends, staff, congratulations to you as well. Thank you all for giving me a chance to talk with you here today, and do start thinking about that Fast Track. These guys have done it, and now you all can too. Thank you.
The Army Reserve Officers Training Corps has been a cooperative partner in Missouri State's educational program since 1952. Earlier today, 6 students were commissioned as second lieutenants into the United States Army, and we wish them well in their future careers. The veterans and military members living, working, and receiving their education at Missouri State University are a valued and vital component of our campus community. We recognize and honor their sacrifices and the sacrifices of their families, and value their life experiences as they broaden the diversity of our staff, faculty, and student body. As such, students graduating from the university who serve, have served, or will be serving after graduation in the United States Armed Forces have been invited to wear a red, white, and blue honor cord at today's ceremony in recognition of their service to our country. I now invite those individuals to stand and be recognized. Thank you. At this time, candidates for all degrees will be presented by Dr. Frank Einhelig. It is understood, of course, that no candidate graduates officially until all grades are recorded and a final examination of the student's record is made.
Will the candidates for the Specialist in Education degree please rise? President Smart, these candidates have completed the requirements for the Specialist in Education degree. It is with great pride that they are presented to you on behalf of the graduate faculty for the conferring of the degree.
By the authority of the state of Missouri vested in the Board of Governors and delegated to me, I now confer upon you the degree of Specialist in Education and declare that you have surmounted the second level of graduate studies and are qualified to supervise the learning process.
Will the candidates for the Specialist in Education degree please proceed forward?
Julie Masterson, Associate Provost and Dean of the Graduate College, will hood the candidates. Dr. Pauline Nugent will present the students.
Cara V. Jennings. Kristen L. Sidwell. Karen M. Capon. Lori Ellen Ralph.
Will the candidates for all master's degrees please rise? President Smart, these candidates have completed all the requirements for their respective master degree. The graduate faculty of Missouri State University are pleased to present them to you for the conferring of the degree.
By the authority of the state of Missouri vested in the Board of Governors and delegated to me, I now confer upon you the master's degree. I testify that you have surmounted the first level of graduate studies, and I wish you every success as you serve humanity through your accomplishments.
Will all candidates except those in the first row please be seated? Will the candidates for master's degrees in the first row proceed forward, followed by master's candidates in other rows as directed by the marshals?
Dr. Julie Masterson and Dr. Thomas Tomasi will hood the candidates. Dr. Pauline Nugent and Ms. Neosha Mackey will present the students.
Carlene Marie Campbell.
Stephanie K. Morrison.
Ann M. Wolf.
Kesley S. Nafa.
Julie Orr Blackshear.
Casey Lauren Adkins.
Maria Veronica de Munoz.
Joel Mackenzie Medley.
Edie Lynn White.
Garab Batarai.
Matthew Bruce Neff.
Natalie L. Smith.
Marissa K. Kaiser.
Jessica Rayanne Cox.
Benjamin G. Todd.
Jared C. Smothers.
Bridget M. Ruark.
Megan D. Rippey Brooks.
Diana L. Walden.
Abigail J. Mayberry.
Hayden Nicole McNeely.
Rebecca E. Crow.
Victoria Rowe Marquez.
Tegan Elizabeth Love.
Amber Lynn Hooper.
Shui Hua Jean.
Evan Moore.
Heather N. Moore.
April Michelle Lochner.
Lisbeth A. Sandoval.
Jennifer L. Hornick.
Shannon N. Wick.
Kelly Marie Pulley,
Emily Michaela McCormick,
Alicia Ray Williams,
Catherine Rinaldi,
Mary A. Donnelly,
Christina Abigail Esther Orlandos,
Beverly Lee Anna Bell,
Nicole R. Ricard,
Paula J. Dowler,
Allison R. Guerin,
Jamie L. Bendorf,
Caitlin E. Grisham,
Rachel Lynn Klotch,
Brooksy Chloe Massingale,
Caitlin Elsie Booker,
Abigail Elizabeth Benson,
Angela Frances Bryce,
Lauren E. Troy,
Luis Fernando Perkovich,
Teresa Marie Sparks,
Jen C. Jung,
Dakota Junior Twinter,
Sir-Yu Chun,
Annalyn M. Zay,
Cesar Ernesto Guzman Toro,
Erica Hatcher,
Tsi Mu Lyo,
Dominic Andrew Pecoraro,
Elin John,
Josie Halliday Melton,
Radib Junaid Bashir,
Ellen Marie Pate,
Alec George Neeson,
Ashley Deanna Bobo,
Melinda J. Sutton,
Chan Tina Pham,
Brandy Dawn Bates,
Intisar Faulkner,
Kayla Ray King,
Austin L. Reedy,
Molly E. Dustinsky,
Joseph Hamaker,
Allison K. Fries,
Demetria S. Green,
Andrea M. Lee,
Jordan Eugene Taylor,
Norman Christopher Carr,
and Nora Barron,
Nirmal Bashnab,
Mi K. Lu,
Farhad Hossain,
Chin Shi She,
Taylor Page Whitmore,
Oluwasegun Michael Abaladi,
Junya Zhao,
Dewash Dakal,
Courtney J. Escoto,
Lacey A. Austin,
Karen Elaine Fitzsimmons,
Jacqueline Danielle Shepard,
Taylor Ray Clark,
Megan Christine Picking,
Erin Nicole Liu,
Amanda Marie Krieg.
Kelsey Lynn Gwynn.
Ha-Un Song.
Catherine Elena Eudora Ross.
Mark Andrew Stauffer.
Dalip Kumar.
Amber M. Nelson.
Obina Chilizi Njoka.
Hannah Barbara Johnson.
Jared Wayne Hall.
Jacqueline Marie Fugate.
Thomas Charles Calloway.
Kelsey J. Long.
Hai Ha Duong.
Darby N. French.
Ashley Nicole Parent.
Megan Ray Myers.
Amanda K. Hicks.
Shelby Elizabeth Morrison.
Isaac J. Johnson.
Jack William Edward Roberts.
Ivy Nicole Bruce.
Sarah E. Jones.
Tyler Ray Heckman.
Allison Renee Jones.
Victoria Carolina Nieto Betancourt.
Emily Page Hillenberg.
Alana Colette Yeomans.
Carrie L. Mothersed.
Carly Joyce Wingfield.
Leah Marie Ganaway.
Maxwell M. Wagner.
Nicholas Charles Jordan.
Kathleen M. Hash.
Samuel Gordon DeYoung.
Andrea Janae Greer.
Katie N. Raminga.
Melissa Nicole Stahlbaumer.
Grace Francis Roman.
Jennifer Y. Patillo.
Sarah Madeline Latarte.
Ashley Nicole Lawson.
Hannah Ray Adams.
Liana S. Henning.
Miranda Marie Jordan.
Christina Jean Sojourner Gardner.
Clarissa Ann Hatley.
Nia Patrice Morgan.
Anastasia Marie Cox McClanahan.
Tyree Davis IV.
Kelly Lynn Rose.
Deandra Cachet Darrow.
Leah Ashley Borneval.
Seamus Bernard Shannon.
Devin Timothy Newport.
Ing Sean.
Daniel Shea Hostins.
Ding Hui Jin.
Connor Lee O'Dowd.
Lin John.
Anthony Robin Franklin.
Yukon John.
Jordan Taylor Hoskin.
Salha Al Hussein Al Terwi.
Jessie Lynn Nicole Kelting.
Danny Joseph.
Lynn-Lee Rebecca Hunt. Ashley Aaron Evans. Andrea N. Piepenbrink. Devin D. Sexton.
Missouri State University and the Missouri University of Science and Technology are proud to offer 2 engineering programs on Missouri State University campus, civil and electrical engineering. These engineering degrees are earned through the Missouri University of Science and Technology in cooperation with Missouri State University. Will the candidates for the bachelor's degree in civil and electrical engineering please rise? President Smart, these candidates have completed all the requirements for their respective bachelor degrees. The faculty of Missouri State University and the Missouri University of Science and Technology take great pleasure in presenting them to you for the conferring of the degree.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the President and Board of Curators of the University of Missouri, I confer upon you the bachelor's degree in your respective fields, together with all rights, honors, and privileges, as well as the obligations and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations.
Please be seated. Before we confer the bachelor's degrees, I would like to note the scholastic accomplishments of several of these students. Would the students wearing the blue stoles please rise? Please join me in recognizing these graduates of the university's Honors College. You may be seated. Several students are graduating with scholastic honors and are identified by the cordons they are wearing. Students graduating summa cum laude have achieved a grade point average of at least 3.9. Will those students graduating summa cum laude and wearing the gold cordon please rise and remain standing? Students graduating magna cum laude have achieved a grade point average between 3.75 and 3.89. Would those students graduating magna cum laude and wearing the silver cordons please rise and remain standing? Finally, students graduating cum laude have achieved a grade point average between 3.5 and 3.74. Would those students graduating cum laude and wearing a bronze cordon please rise and remain standing? On behalf of the university, I wish to congratulate these students on their impressive scholastic achievements. Will the candidates for all bachelor's degrees please rise? President Smart, these candidates have completed all the requirements for their respective bachelor degrees. The faculty of Missouri State University take great pleasure in presenting them to you for the conferring of the degree.
By the authority of the state of Missouri vested in the Board of Governors and delegated to me, I now confer upon you the bachelor degree and wish you the best in your careers.
Will all candidates except those in the first row please be seated? Will the candidates for bachelor's degrees in the first row proceed forward, followed by bachelor's candidates in other rows as directed by the marshal?
Dr. Pauline Nugent and Ms. Neosha Mackey will present the students.
Zachary N. Cole,
Kaylee Ray Warmington,
Trevor Eric Curry,
China Howell,
Jason S. Noguera,
Emily Barbara White,
Blake Claywell Croft,
Ryan Anthony White,
Cassandra Marie Freitas, magna cum laude,
Carter Jackson Bro,
Taylor Demi Godwin, magna cum laude,
Destiny Jamil Hanks,
John J. Surgeoner,
Thurman Son Connor III,
Matthew J. Hibner,
Taylor Lee Hickerson,
Emily Joy Cox,
Magdalena Thea Maria Detka, magna cum laude,
Molly Elizabeth Fowler,
Renee Lanice Shivers,
Lee A. Lorero cum laude,
Dominique Lachey McCrary,
Tara Madeline Ash, magna cum laude,
Batul Mohammed Al-Zubi, magna cum laude,
Stacy Lane Heisman, magna cum laude,
Lane A. Strassener,
Courtney Amber Hiddle, cum laude,
Kylie Marie Newell,
Patricia Page Price, magna cum laude,
Jackson Dale Hartig,
Seth Daniel Brown, cum laude,
Trevor A. Bareka, summa cum laude,
Samantha Cadle,
Morgan Elizabeth Partlow, summa cum laude in the Honors College,
Mason Scott Kirkland,
Emily A. Stagoski, magna cum laude in the Honors College,
Catherine E. Hopkins,
Heather Lynn Halopek, summa cum laude in the Honors College,
Lindy Alexandra Jones, magna cum laude,
Danielle Jean Urban,
McKenna Murdoch, Hannah M. Feeney,
Brianna Arnell L. Wahhabi,
Joshua T. Crody, cum laude,
Darby J. Dugan,
M. Elizabeth Loughran,
Hannah L. Ferguson, cum laude,
Bailey Robert Deal, cum laude,
Trevor Jacob Bedke,
Jennifer Faith Lippard, summa cum laude in the Honors College,
Lauren A. Harrell, cum laude in the Honors College,
Lauren F. Tenenbaum, cum laude,
Jennifer Ray Harmon,
Margaret Elizabeth Sharmone, summa cum laude,
Quincy Nicole Young, magna cum laude,
Abigail E. Morrow, cum laude,
Jake Pridgen,
Joseph M. Cuccione, cum laude,
Zachary Austin John Thompson,
Kennedy Girard,
Drew Michael Rader, cum laude,
Catherine Ann Griffiths, summa cum laude in the Honors College,
Tessa Jean Newfon Pong Savas, cum laude,
Emily Huey,
Reagan Elizabeth Emmergut,
Nadia Lorianne Stein, cum laude,
Hannah Jean Bogue, cum laude,
Caitlin Declan Raylene Marie Pulley.
Megan Nicole Stalling.
Kendra Ann Key.
Jordan Liana Wheatley, magna cum laude.
Mark Andrew Leach Malcolm.
Kelly A. Grant, cum laude.
Alyssa Hope Kirby, magna cum laude.
Mackenzie Elizabeth Spalding, magna cum laude.
Lauren Ashley Smith.
Emily Kate Hurd.
Maxwell Richard Conan.
Jessica Michelle Morrison.
Edith Marie Salter.
Samantha Morgan Tintner, cum laude.
Jacqueline Ruth Crawford.
Crystal J. Milliger.
Ashley Madison Wool.
Christopher D. Schubert, cum laude.
Hannah Michelle Voiles, magna cum laude.
Tyler Joseph Hast.
Logan Ross Van Winkle, summa cum laude.
Shun Yi Hoy, magna cum laude.
Dorothy Amanda Vance, cum laude.
William James Dickens, magna cum laude in the Honors College.
Sydney Allison Hinton.
James Anthony Kelly, cum laude.
Olivia K. Callow.
Andrea Marie Hendricks in the Honors College.
Thomas Bradley Fisher.
Kaylee Nicole Tickner.
Colin Sean O'Connell.
Emma Lavon Schubach. Sorry.
Les Dunaway, summa cum laude.
Rebecca A. Chadwick.
Ngozi Kelechi Angela Ekeke, magna cum laude.
Hannah B. Heller, summa cum laude.
Devin James Lalamondier.
Alexa R. Harmon, cum laude in the Honors College.
Paul A. Johnson.
Lisa Janine Llewellyn.
Michael Ryan Martin.
Elizabeth Ann King.
Christopher Michael Iberger.
Megan Leanne Thompson, magna cum laude.
Matthew Robin Sechrist.
Kelly Annette White.
Madison B. Ferrara.
Darby Marie Murdoch, cum laude.
Brianna Danielle Sundet.
Stephanie K. Brown, magna cum laude.
Amelia Louise Pop, summa cum laude.
Emily Elizabeth Walters, summa cum laude in the Honors College.
Miranda Winston.
Caitlin C. Brady, cum laude.
Kaylee S. Thompson.
Dylan Garrett Hodges, magna cum laude.
Jamie A. Doherty.
There's a silent T at the end.
Victoria Elizabeth Davidson.
Benjamin Ray Huguenot.
Beta Suzanne Lear.
Sydney Irene Messerly, summa cum laude in the Honors College.
Hannah Stash, cum laude in the Honors College with distinction in professional writing.
Jared Kilpack, cum laude.
Sarah Elizabeth Harp, cum laude in the Honors College.
Gray Cooper Malkmus.
Kyle Timothy Osrader, summa cum laude in the Honors College with distinction in professional writing.
Danielle Aaron Nagelvert.
Rowan Quinn Bond, magna cum laude in the Honors College with distinction in professional writing.
Alina Kristen Fawn Kennedy.
Taylor M. Ballou.
Abigail R. Gertson, summa cum laude in the Honors College.
Maria Rosario Maluso, summa cum laude in the Honors College with distinction in professional writing.
Lauren Emily Nichols.
Bailey Elizabeth Vasali.
Taylor Marie Rose Stevens.
Emily Marie Cole, magna cum laude.
Aaron H. Carlton.
Cortland Olivia Stark, summa cum laude.
Adam Michael Suleman.
Nina Maria Todia, cum laude.
Shelby Lee Graham.
Melanie A. Grattan.
Anna C. Redmond, magna cum laude in the Honors College.
Marilyn P. Poindexter.
Adriana L. McKenzie.
Joseph Faulkner Heflin.
Caitlin Renee Ward, cum laude.
Adam D. Holderbaum, cum laude.
Mari Kamakura.
Emily Sarah McFadden.
Thomas M. Sanders.
Ryan William Getter.
Taylor Lee Hughes.
Joseph Levi Meadows.
Andrew Gordon Reeder, cum laude.
Melanie K. Thompson.
Mary Elisa Wren, summa cum laude.
Rachel Margaret Weiner, cum laude.
Giovanni Marcelo Hernandez.
Timothy Patrick Maloney.
Logan Tyler Herod.
Christian Allen Klein.
Lauren Nicole Silva, cum laude.
Caleb Everett Snyder.
Grace E. Walker.
Michael Zachary Kern, magna cum laude.
Lauren Mackenzie Van Ness, summa cum laude in the Honors College.
Jessica L. Hodge.
Caitlin Nicole Sloman, cum laude.
Chloe B. Myers, cum laude.
Abigail Marie Clark, magna cum laude.
Tatum McKinney Skinner, cum laude.
Samantha Ann McGinnis.
Emily Chang Arne.
Kimberly A. Hogan, cum laude.
Peyton Leanne Orban, cum laude.
Audrey A. Livota.
Brendan Daniel Willie.
Alexandria Nicole Holmes.
Alexander David Huntinger.
Bradley Cole Kelly, summa cum laude.
All right, gotcha. David William Gaino.
Mark Gabriel Phillips.
Grant Joseph Masparin.
Rachel Jean Corain.
Matthew Ryan Campbell, magna cum laude.
Lisa Catherine Campbell.
Carlina Marie Canovi.
Emily L. Woodall.
Timothy J. Pyatt.
Sarah Elizabeth Perfect, cum laude.
Sarah Elizabeth Ray Bradshaw.
Runge. Grace Julia Runge.
Olivia Lynn Compton, summa cum laude in the Honors College.
Summer Lynn Reed, cum laude.
Brett Harrison Lair, cum laude.
Madison Christine Kellerstrass, magna cum laude.
Jessie Caroline Jastel.
Blaine A. Wheeler.
Isabel Ireland Serna, cum laude.
Bryce D. Blattner, cum laude.
Holly Renee Jackson.
Kaylee E. Larson.
Alyssa Jade Devine.
Brianna Nicole McCullough, magna cum laude.
Paul Bailey McFerrin.
Courtney R. Wynn.
Mariah Elizabeth Zank, magna cum laude.
Autrey Shea Cloud.
Melissa A. Burke, cum laude.
Michaela Marie Schneider, cum laude.
T. Wayne Murray Pennington.
Haley Danae Ridenauer.
Casey Denise Blizzard.
Lauren M. Church.
Andrea Demi Frime.
Holly Arlene Morrison.
Megan Jean Ellison, magna cum laude.
Natalie Nicole Dirks, magna cum laude.
Elizabeth Faith Rule, magna cum laude.
Morgan Davis, cum laude.
Madison Christine Oglesby, cum laude.
Stephanie Elizabeth Green.
Jenna Rose Kinsey, cum laude.
Austin Gregory Carter, cum laude.
Emma L. Gray, cum laude.
Carter Evan Williams.
Grace Catherine Chipley.
Jack R. Barnhart, cum laude in the Honors College.
Alexis Ruth Lown, magna cum laude.
Corey David Beveridge, cum laude.
Hannah Elizabeth Thompson. Okay.
Emily Elizabeth Meehan, cum laude.
Rebecca Leigh Cook.
Joseph Edward Mueller, cum laude.
Margaret Jean Alexander.
Connor Patrick Ingram.
Madeline Kathleen Knapp, magna cum laude.
Anthony John Munkin.
Camille Imadi Young.
Audrey Mary Catherine DeLabach.
Ralkia Lachey Bates.
Tyler D. Curran.
Leroy Dean Barker.
Alexandria R. Laver.
Andrew Joseph Gibbs.
Kiera Marnay Grant.
Elizabeth K. Lee, magna cum laude in the Honors College.
Brooke Ann Masterson, magna cum laude in the Honors College.
Claire Margaret Kidwell, summa cum laude in the Honors College with distinction in global studies.
Kiviana Alicia Moore.
Faith A. Morgan, cum laude in the Honors College.
Jeremy J. Morgan.
Philip A. Herzog.
Capricia Lachey Barnes.
Savannah Orr Nelson.
Hunter R. Myers.
Hannah Elizabeth Kurt, magna cum laude.
Rezki Ixon.
Jordan Rochelle Glossop.
Zachary Ray McNeely.
Faith A. Childers, cum laude.
Hope Victoria Suttles.
Sierra Jade Chitwood, summa cum laude in the Honors College.
Desmond Maurice Warren.
Erica L. Pilgrim.
Isabel Scott Law.
Shelby G. Bruncher, magna cum laude.
Darcy Marina Espinales.
Darren A. Colbert, magna cum laude.
Zachary Noah Winfrey, summa cum laude.
Brock David Cantrell, cum laude.
Katie M. Freihofer.
Danielle K. Heiser.
Edward Arthur Browning II.
Sydney Leah Dotson.
Victoria Rose Lutkemeyer.
Andre J. Evans.
Broadus. Kelly Christina Broadus.
Logan Christopher Mercer.
Samantha Lee Brown.
Ashton Cole Wilson, cum laude.
Cassidy Shea Herman, cum laude.
Terry E. Chapman.
Colin Marie Gadia.
Madison Marie Bryan.
Dana Marie Finn.
Austin P. Schick.
Estefania Roxana Salas Carmona. Eunice Mancio.
Kerrigan Arnold.
Eunice Mancia.
Colin T. O'Hara, cum laude.
Allison Haley Reese, summa cum laude.
Diana Mary Kelly, cum laude.
Michaela Beth Scott, magna cum laude in the Honors College.
Caitlin Joel Music, magna cum laude.
Joel Evan Brock.
Macy Shalyn Stevens, cum laude.
Willie J. Pryor.
Elizabeth Ann Wallstrand, cum laude.
Alina Medel Yakteen, cum laude.
Crystal Scram.
Alexandria Elizabeth Tucker.
Victoria L. Thurman, cum laude.
Shekinah Lede Morgan.
Nicole M. Harris.
Carolyn Renee Steensland, summa cum laude.
Patrick Ryan Sullivan.
Julia Renee Morrow, cum laude.
Ryan J. Manley.
Rachel Elizabeth Kramer.
Molly Claire Mullen, magna cum laude.
Uday Sanada, cum laude.
Claire Janine Newman.
Haley Renee Worth, summa cum laude.
Abigail C. Shanley, summa cum laude.
Noah Jack Standish.
Abigail Ann Doherty.
Brooks W. Sturm.
Sophia Rose Pasantino.
Nicholas David Pinton.
Abigail Nicole Sims.
Madeline Claire Heberling.
Tyler Jordan Castle, cum laude.
Caitlin E. Immendorfer, cum laude.
Trey Lynn West.
Got it. Calvin L. Kuhn, magna cum laude.
Katarina Ray Schrader, cum laude.
Tiffany Marie Taylor, cum laude.
Randy Onaby Belden.
Della Madeline McIntyre.
Monica K. Wise.
Megan J. Hine, cum laude.
Joseph W. Azer, magna cum laude.
Mary Krishna Self, summa cum laude in the Honors College.
Morgan Renee Kinder, cum laude.
Sydney Despina Suter.
Kayla Dawn Harmon.
Emily Louise Hoffman, magna cum laude.
Brooke Medica.
Christina Marie Forrest.
Brooke A. Spalding, cum laude.
Jennifer L. DeJong, cum laude.
Jennifer N. Boston.
Peyton Lewis Wilde.
Lindsay K. Hobart.
Brooks A. Jordan.
Madeline Colette Hanley, magna cum laude.
Jonathan Wardell Bentley.
Casey A. Struble.
Candace Sierra Bruce.
Andrew James Hayner, cum laude.
Anna Christine Schlater.
Victoria Lee Petrillo, magna cum laude.
Lucas Joseph Adams.
Taylor E. Bottini.
Zachary Lee Monica.
Kiefer N. Ladish, cum laude.
King Khan Nguyen.
Shelby E. Corley.
Connor P. Wadley.
Claire Benton Grimm.
Kyle Robert Beasley.
Carter S. Jordan.
Todd Matthew Fortenberry.
Christy Elizabeth Turk.
Gina Becknell.
Samantha Jean Rowden.
Shalom D. Simmons.
Carly Elizabeth Swisher.
Matthew E. Fuller.
Brooke Elizabeth McPhee, magna cum laude.
Madison Chantel Collier.
Abby Elizabeth Pickerick, cum laude.
Hannah Nicole Notware.
Emily C. Carianzef.
Brianna Michelle Johnson cum laude.
Kelly Brianna Carter.
Alicia Renee Burton.
Molly Elizabeth Limmer, summa cum laude in the Honors College.
Natalie N. Stevens.
McKenna Quinn Summers, cum laude.
Destiny Nicole Marcus cum laude.
Jillian Page Matherly.
Sierra Marie Verney.
Kaylee E. Rothdeiner, cum laude.
Mackenzie A. Kramer summa cum laude.
Chelsea Marie Cabrales.
Caitlin Elizabeth Trotwine.
Erin Mackenzie Mercer, summa cum laude in the Honors College.
Lauren Ann Nitch cum laude.
Megan Christine Mora.
Grace S. Pipkins.
Tiffany K. Goslin, cum laude.
Chelsea Elizabeth Fisher summa cum laude in the Honors College.
Shelby Alexandria Alban.
Lisa Marie Thurlow magna cum laude.
Kayla Lynn Gann, cum laude.
Kelsey Rebecca Woods magna cum laude.
Cole E. Wheeler, cum laude.
Sabrina Renee Braley.
Bryce Wilson.
Miranda K. Benz cum laude.
Sue and Esther Williams, summa cum laude.
Bailey N. Paulus magna cum laude.
Nicole Renee Northcutt.
Sarah Brianne Lander summa cum laude.
Lydia Marie Ray, cum laude.
Alexa May Wright.
Vicki Lynn Woodcock.
Marcus Andrew Bullard cum laude.
Hannah Sue Bray, summa cum laude.
Regan A. Smithson magna cum laude.
Micah Naomi Mansker, summa cum laude.
Megan Renee Murray cum laude.
Jessie Lynn Smith, summa cum laude.
Caitlin Tiffany Palmer cum laude.
Emma Rose Bowen.
Hannah Jean Peak.
Kayla Sue Jordan.
Kaylee Ann Meissen cum laude.
Rebecca Lucinda Kaufman.
Lily Rose Greenblatt cum laude.
Samantha A. Nardi, cum laude.
Madeline Kathleen Meyer cum laude.
Chantel Simone Barnett.
Tori J. Squires cum laude.
Lydia Marie Dorenbush, summa cum laude.
Morgan L. Kilburn cum laude.
Caitlin Christine Reynolds.
Taylor A. Riemann.
Megan Michelle Whitehead.
Hannah Christine Resnicek cum laude.
Cheyenne Nicole Matlock, cum laude.
Macy Morgan Hankel magna cum laude.
Paige Elizabeth Groner, cum laude.
Adam Joseph Vorel magna cum laude.
Caitlin Marie Bearhorst.
Jacob James Reiner magna cum laude.
Caitlin Rose Frangenberg, summa cum laude.
Michelle E. Wickman, cum laude.
Ana Julia Vargas Ruiz.
Abigail R. Barch, cum laude.
Okay. Hannah Lynn Picard.
Taylor Brooke Croner, summa cum laude.
Alexis Joelle Cooper.
Catherine J. Very, cum laude.
Alison French Childs.
Anna Claire Porting.
Tara Marie Lester.
Crystal Marie Johnson, cum laude.
Kelly Joan Heineck.
Emily Jane Napoli, magna cum laude.
Haley A. Klinksick.
Paige Chloe Sake, cum laude.
Elizabeth A. Grimshaw, cum laude.
Megan Elizabeth Bornia, magna cum laude.
Monique A. Fay, magna cum laude.
Maria Elizabeth Schul, cum laude.
Rebecca Ann Green, magna cum laude.
Emily Brianne Larson, cum laude.
Miranda Rose Maxey.
Eden Azure Marie Holt.
Brittany Alexis Hughes.
Madison Elizabeth Machowski, cum laude.
Alexandra Nicole Ross.
Abby Rose Hatch.
Lauren Marie Lancaster.
Hannah Jane Roberts.
Krista Danielle May.
Danielle M. Isom.
Sierra L. Johnson.
Alexandra N. Hoke, cum laude.
Erin Francis Henry, magna cum laude.
Shelley M. Chesick.
Paige Danielle Bowerman, summa cum laude.
Selena Marie Yacovone, summa cum laude.
Cassandra G. Stevenson, cum laude.
Grace Ann Pratt, summa cum laude.
Tatum Henderson, cum laude.
Haley Nicole Mead.
Shyla Jade Rainey.
Casey F. Cadillac, cum laude.
Morgan Voiles, cum laude.
Alexandra Lane Campman.
Emily Christine Goldberg.
Cody Austin Jones.
Brandy Deshay Higgins.
Olivia M. Strode.
Jaquel C. Ringo.
Keely Michelle Hawkins.
Caress Taja Lee.
Megan Rose Hager.
Marcus M. Stewart, Jr.
Christy Marie Fitzpatrick.
Anthony Jacob Wingeter.
Caitlin J. Getz.
Tanner Lawrence Coram.
Heather W. Wright, cum laude.
Jonathan Edward McBain.
Jennifer Michelle Modica.
Natasha Nicole Kozak.
Megan Elise Coots, cum laude.
Caitlin Rose Rice.
Chloe Pauline Reagan.
Timothy Scott Steelman Roden.
Grace Michelle Schrader, summa cum laude.
I hope he makes it through. Okay. Hannah Nicole Horgan, cum laude.
Haley Madison Ruth, cum laude.
Sarah Danielle Porter.
Morgan D. Dolph, summa cum laude.
Taylor Christine Schaefer, cum laude.
Alexa Suann Mays, cum laude.
Taylor Christine Bunch, magna cum laude.
Emily Nora Baines.
Savannah A. McCown.
Abigail E. Cobb, magna cum laude.
Bailey Elizabeth Wade, cum laude.
Tesla Nicole Rittiger, cum laude.
Haley M. Penwell.
Michael Richard DeLangen.
Sarah Ann Harper, magna cum laude.
Renee Nicole Hudson.
Madison Jo Dehart, cum laude.
Carrie Leanne Cook, cum laude.
Mackenzie Lee Pond, cum laude.
Aaliyah Christina Williams, cum laude.
Hannah Sue Nicodeme, cum laude.
Sarah Jane Gray, summa cum laude.
Trevor John Gaffrey.
Mackenzie D. Cochran, summa cum laude.
Joshua Alexander Foster.
Elizabeth Jean Pollitt.
Patrick Joseph Topliger Jr., summa cum laude. Go for it, man.
Taylor E. Bruce.
Jeffrey Mason.
Christopher Kyle Lewis, cum laude.
Damian Theodore Burbage, magna cum laude.
Brendan Lee Bowman.
Jared A. Golden, cum laude.
Dustin Levi Scott.
Joshua W. Henderson.
Jacob Logan Thompson, cum laude.
Michael Reidenar.
Erica Ashley Fettner.
Connor Michael Sweet.
Brandy R.Y. Oring.
Ryan Matthew Sweet, cum laude.
Zane G. Berry.
Guillermo E. Arceniegas.
Nicole Danae Terrell.
Matthew Allen Griffith.
Michael Killawa Hines.
Joshua James Lambeth.
Kimberly Hope Earnhardt in the Honors College.
Andrew Michael Smith, cum laude.
Nicholas Scott Goers, summa cum laude.
Nathan Webb, magna cum laude.
Allison Mackenzie Weidel, cum laude.
Kason Allen Schwamm, magna cum laude.
Anthony James Vitale, summa cum laude.
Joshua Michael Brown, cum laude.
Nicholas Andrew Inlow.
Justin C. Orff.
Got it. Kayla Elizabeth Crawford.
Kaylin Eugene Boyd, magna cum laude.
Elizabeth M. Wyman.
Samuel Neil Trenter.
Colin M. Ports, summa cum laude.
Nicholas Richard Hafner.
Grady J. Stearns.
Morgan Danielle Lockhart.
Lyle Thomas Van Fossen.
Michael Allen White, summa cum laude.
Trevor E. Hammond.
Michael Scott Palmley.
Brian P. Jones, Jr.
Ethan Schuyler Reese, summa cum laude.
Parker Philip Mertz.
Hannah Marie Everly, summa cum laude.
Taylor May Caldwell.
Troy Darnez Mathis, Jr.
Emily Nicole Flatt.
Russell Alexander Matthews.
Brenda Rizzo.
Caleb Paul Kerr.
Sheena Marie Spear, cum laude.
Sean Amber Miller.
Elisa Y. Kelly, magna cum laude.
Cara Jill M. Campbell, magna cum laude.
Allison May Saffel, cum laude.
Morgan Linnell Walters, summa cum laude.
Alexandra V. Lindsay.
Erica Lynn Scott, magna cum laude.
Caitlin R. Easton, cum laude.
Lauren Ashley Sholin.
Hannah Marie Spate, cum laude.
Ashley Nicole Phelan.
Madison Ray Clithermus, magna cum laude.
Cody Glenn Riley.
Lauren Ray Fights.
Natalie Ray Spotswood.
Marshall A. Mason.
James Clayton Williams.
Christopher M. Klinke.
Kyler Toria Shawi Abdu.
Jun Sop Huang.
Catherine Elizabeth Nicholas.
Andrew David Baker, cum laude.
Brooke Ann Shankland.
Tyler Lee Odom, cum laude.
Oh, okay. Montana Sky Richardson.
John Michael Gwynn.
Alexander Richard Burge.
Nikita Noel Faye Brownell.
Rachel A. Victoria.
Paul Anthony Lizer.
Alex Ross Shannon.
Alexandra J. Parks.
Kelsey Renee Carson.
Alyssa K. Gaither.
Aber Renee Ryan cum laude.
Eileen Marie Weffler.
Benjamin C. Moeller.
Hannah N. Williams, cum laude.
Jade J. Pavia cum laude.
Amanda Ruth Dobson, cum laude.
Huso Risvanovich cum laude.
Shane Joseph Bauman.
Husref Risvanovich magna cum laude.
Devin Christian Mart.
Cecily Ileana Holtze.
Grant Michael Dolan, summa cum laude.
Kayla Deanne Macmillan cum laude.
Jessica Diane Brewer, cum laude.
Janae Giovanna Rodney.
Haley Rochelle Celia Godden, cum laude in the Honors College.
Yannick M. Walker, summa cum laude.
Emily B. Novak, cum laude.
Basra Atali Frazier.
Sarah Brown.
Avery Elaine Farrar.
Madeline Marie Hurley.
That's easy, thank you. Aspen J. Henry, magna cum laude.
Casey Marie Orlando.
Austin Michael Lower.
Samuel Aguayo.
Michael G. Sonker.
Okay. Jennifer A. Ornasorg.
Jaden B. Kelly.
Jody Russo.
Alize D. Schaefer.
Catherine Renee Mack.
Yeah. Blake Charles Woods.
Jordan E. Moyer.
Cameron Shane Noren.
Wesley Benjamin Rushing, cum laude in the Honors College.
Allison Lee Landrum, magna cum laude in the Honors College.
Zachary D. Drake.
Caitlin Marie Jane Thompson.
Kiana Namdi Keaton Boyce.
Amanda K. Worsham.
Ann instead of A. Thank you.
Emily Ann Miller.
Matasia Denisian Daniel.
Carson Olivia Jones.
Haley Owens, summa cum laude.
Sierra Maria Treasure.
Lindsay Marie Gross, summa cum laude.
Timothy James Smith.
Leanne Marie Wilhelm.
Anthony A. Green.
Lucas Jeffrey Bring.
Josiah D. McGurty.
Last name's Farron.
Nels F. Lund.
Tessa Jolene Farron, magna cum laude.
Gregory Allen Lucky.
Ty L. Stevens.
Don't look away. Josh Gooch, magna cum laude.
Janelle V. Tiona.
Evan A. Telly.
Adam Christopher Jones.
Kayla Renee Jacobs.
Austin Lee Beckner.
Lyric Stotler, cum laude.
Robert Michael Brewer.
Caleb Z. Marshall, summa cum laude in the Honors College with distinction in mathematics.
Justin David Mann.
Bethany Lynn Morgan, magna cum laude in the Honors College.
Emily Aaron Box.
Aubrey Taylor Hormel, magna cum laude.
Mark Allen Vliestra.
Gabriel Eric Wallace, magna cum laude.
Connor J. Jansen.
Nicholas C. Whedon.
Elliot Nathan Asher Campbell, summa cum laude in the Honors College.
Andrew Stephen Gray.
Timothy I. McCoy.
Adam G. Summers, magna cum laude.
Daniel Wade Courtney.
Austin N. Beard, summa cum laude.
Jacob Stephen Wakefield.
Taylor Brianne Howard.
Eric A. McCullough, magna cum laude in the Honors College.
Brittany Faye Holtzclaw.
Zileman. Noah A. Zileman.
Olivia Nicole Horton, summa cum laude.
Alexander James Bird, magna cum laude.
John J. Zickafus.
Wesley James Kilgore, summa cum laude.
Kyle Philip Finter, cum laude.
Ben H. Sullins.
Paul William O'Donnell, cum laude.
Nicholas Michael Gissinger.
It's Beckley.
Trang Min Indigo.
Amber Louise Beckley.
Jordan Ann Hyman in the Honors College.
Margot Elizabeth Mendez, summa cum laude.
Michael C. Eoff.
Emily Noel McLean, magna cum laude.
Jordan D. Cruzan.
Emma Nicole Chadwell, cum laude in the Honors College.
William Harrison Brockmeyer.
Luke Neal Ellickson, magna cum laude.
Wes R. Renfro.
Madison Page Woodall.
Spencer Lee Johnson.
Sarah Francine Hughes, cum laude in the Honors College.
Eldon Lewis Hopp.
Maddie Nicole White.
Matt A. Yeager, cum laude.
Brenna Lee Melton.
Austin Robert Dersch.
Jonathan Abel Brewer.
Gregory Edwin Baylor.
Jesse L. Kelly.
Tyler D. Beato.
Brennan Bowman Burrick, cum laude.
Bailey Lewis, magna cum laude.
Britt Carol Masters, cum laude.
Ashley Rowan Myers.
Tristan J. Kuckelman, magna cum laude.
Megan Christine McClatchy.
Benjamin Austin Burleson.
Blaine Miller Downs, cum laude.
Clayton Adam Sanssouci.
William Lane Wisdom.
Jennifer Crystal Bedell.
Rachel Andrea Walker.
Paul Michael Gordon Wilkerson.
Diana Marcela Vargas Barragan, magna cum laude.
Mackenzie Wegman, cum laude.
Shannon Nicole Mills.
Matthew N. Zurilli.
Sarah Ann White.
Tessa Claire Mills in the Honors College.
Sonia Elizabeth Kleiman.
Ernst Zach Neunfeld.
Taylor M. Cook, cum laude.
Nicholas Edward Barks.
It's Megan Ryan Pipes.
Tiffany M. Wortham, cum laude.
Megan Ryan Pites. Sites.
Carmen C. Cresswell, summa cum laude.
Kathy L. Sykes.
Colton Drake Johnson.
Daryl Meyer.
Cassandra K. Gibson.
Madeline Rose Belkey Entwistle, summa cum laude in the Honors College.
Ryan Addison Lawless.
Madison J. Croson.
James Robert Brown, cum laude.
Talia Joy Doty.
Alaric James Jones.
Sierra Nicole Casagrande, cum laude. Okay.
Cole A. Jaramillo.
Seth Merrick.
Kristan Marie Ellen Hamilton.
James Barnage.
Taylor Elizabeth Welch.
Christopher David Mills.
Sarah M. Dobbs.
Benjamin Lee O'Neill.
Philip Andrew Ross.
Christopher W. Shivers.
Oh my God. Cecilia Rich. Karina Sewell, cum laude.
Holly Berry Milam.
Matthew Blake So, magna cum laude.
Deanna Rose Mean, summa cum laude in the Honors College.
Guang Yi Wang.
As graduates, the university sincerely hopes you will continue your affiliation with Missouri State as proud and active alumni. To welcome you to the Alumni Association, I would like to invite to the podium Missouri State's Vice President for University Advancement, Brent Dunn.
Well, on behalf of the Missouri State Alumni Association, congratulations to you all and welcome to the club. Now, you join a group of over 125,000 alums that live in all 50 states and over 90 countries around the world. But please keep us up to date on where you are and what you're doing, because chances are pretty good wherever you land, there'll be alumni there that can help you both personally and professionally. And the Alumni Association provides programs to assist you in life and also engagement activities. After all, your relationship with Missouri State is a lifelong experience. For over 114 years, Missouri State has been educating leaders in business and the sciences and health, agriculture, education, the arts, and so many other areas. There are 7 billion people in the world. 6.7% have college degrees. It's your turn now to make the world a better place. But please listen to this. You're a student at Missouri State for a very short time in your life. You're an alum of Missouri State for the rest of your entire life. Now go change the world. Congratulations. Now go get them and go Bears!
Graduates, you have much to be proud of today. The pride you feel should also extend to others in today's audience. Throughout your university experience, you were supported by parents, spouses, friends, and other family members. Let's show your gratitude for their support through your applause. To conclude our ceremony, I wish to thank the university's jazz ensemble and soloist Carly Wingfield, who provided music for today's ceremony. Carly will now sing the alma mater, and we'd ask that everyone please rise.
Sing we praises now to our alma mater, all hail maroon and white. Missouri State, we pledge devotion. May you live ever in truth and right. May you live ever in truth and right. In truth and right.
Graduates, you have quietly sat through the entire commencement ceremony. This, however, is a celebration of your accomplishments. So before we march out of the arena, how about we give you and your guests a chance to loudly express the excitement and happiness you feel in earning your degrees. Any noise? All right, now that we've gotten that out of our system, let's begin the recessional. And because the recessional is an integral and significant part of the ceremony, we ask that all our guests be seated and remain in their places until the exit of the Grand Marshal. Congratulations and good evening. Ready?